sense. So it doesn't make any sense. But all I know is it doesn't matter to me because I'm not going to be the one to make that sale. I'm not going to sell my assets for a fraction of what they're worth. I'm going to hang on to them. Just like, somebody, if I live in my house and someone comes up and offers me $100 for my house, if I'm dumb enough to sell it for him, that's what, doesn't mean my house is worth $100 because I was stupid enough to sell it was based on what somebody was offering. And, I look at a lot of the prices that my stocks are trading at. Look at my gold stocks. I mean, there are gold stocks, silver stocks that I bought 5-6 years ago that are lower than they were back then. Now, am I going to sell my silver stocks, at prices that were, hell no. I don't care what other people are doing. I'm not going to do the same thing.
Okay. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you. Next caller is Ellen from New York.
Hello. I think it's pretty obvious that when the Obama administration comes in, they're going to be borrowing and spending away, just based upon that interview on 60 Minutes alone the other night. I don't know.
He said we'll do it whatever it takes, and who cares about the deficit?
Exactly. That's exactly what he said. So it's pretty clear the path we're heading down. And my question to you is, I have found that the past few days, people that I'm talking to just in business, and I'm in a financial business and other friends of mine, they're very complacent that, well, people will just buy our bonds because they need us to buy their products.
Well, that's not true. That's the same mistake that everybody makes. They compare it to the mutually insured destruction of the nuclear race, where they said, look, Russia will never launch their missiles against us because then we'll just launch ours back and everybody will blow up. But that's not true. If we stop buying their products, it's not nuclear Armageddon for them. All that happens is that they get to keep their products, which is much better than giving them to us. So, rather than thinking it's mutually assured destruction, if we push our button, all we're going to do is blow ourselves up. The rest of the world is going to be in great shape.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, why everybody's very complacent about, trillions of dollars of bonds being issued. They seem to think there'll be no problem selling this.
I know, and they don't. And the other thing is because we think that we never have to pay the money back. See, here's what we do: we issue debt, and we keep issuing more and more and more. And when the bonds mature, we just issue more to pay it off. So people think nothing of going into debt because everybody assumes we never have to pay the debt back. And this is the reason it's going to end, because here you have the rest of the world. They're getting the short end of this stick. They're like, wait a minute. We have got to loan Americans money forever, and we can never get any of it back? So, and it's really not a loan. When you ask somebody for money without any intention of paying it back, you're not asking for a loan, you're asking for a handout, a gift, or you're stealing, which is what we're doing. And the world is going to wake up. I think they're in the process of waking up. I think our reputation around the world has been shattered. I mean, it's not the banks around the world that are going under. It's our banks. It's not the automobile companies in Asia or Europe that are going bankrupt. It's our companies. It's our country that's at the epicenter of this problem, and the problem revolves around the fact that we can't pay our bills, that we're flat broke. And it makes no sense to lend money to somebody who's broke just so they can spend it and now be even broker than when you loaned them the money in the first place.
Okay, well, that makes sense to me. So I just wanted to get your viewpoint on it, because I'm finding it odd that people I know seem to think that we could just go around issuing debt we'll never pay back.
Well, I mentioned that in my book, whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. And obviously the whole nation's crazy because nobody understands anything. But we're headed for a major collapse, and then after the fact, people will finally understand that. Unfortunately, 99% of us are going to be completely broke. Mm-hmm. When they find out. And hopefully, we've got as many people at Euro Pacific Capital as we can, because my clients won't be broke.
Yeah, well, I'm going into your New York office on Monday to meet with one of your managers there. And I own a lot of gold. I own commodities. I own some foreign currencies. The one thing I don't own is dividend-paying foreign stocks.
Yeah, well, it's a great time to buy those. But, the only thing I can say is, it's never, it's a great time, but it's probably going to be even better the day after you buy. But don't worry about it.
Okay.
We're buying stuff cheap, and it's probably going to get cheaper, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't buy it, because if we wait for the bottom, we'll probably miss it, and then we'll end up paying a lot more. Anyway, thanks a lot for the call.
Thank you.
Look forward to your business. Let's skip to John in Florida.
Hi, Peter. Thank you for taking my call. My wife and I, we're Canadian. We're living in Florida at the present time in the winter. We're retired in our 70s, and we're living a good life for the last 10 years retired. We're just wondering what's going to happen. We lost something like $700,000 in the last few months, and we're just wondering. The experts are saying 3 to 4 years before a recovery. Does that mean our money?
No, I don't think we're going to recover in 3 to 4 years. The economy is going to be in worse shape in 3 to 4 years. You're retired now. I mean, what did you retire from?
We retired in Canada.
So do you have a pension in Canadian dollars?
Yes.
Well, I think you're okay, especially living in Florida. I think things are going to get a lot better for you. You're going to find things very, very cheap down there if you're paying for them with Canadian dollars. You said you're down about $700,000. Where are you investing with us or for another firm?
We're fully invested in Canada. We don't have any U.S. stocks, a little bit.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you have any stocks in Hong Kong or Singapore or Australia or, Scandinavia?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should. I don't think you should have all of your money in Canadian stocks. I think you should. I think you should have some money in Canadian stocks. So I think you might want to diversify. You might want to take advantage of the fact that stocks have gone down every place, not just Canada. And we can certainly take a look at your account. Since you live in Florida as well, we can work with you, and we might be able to give you a little bit more diversity. But I think that in general, since you're all Canadian right now, you're in much better shape than a lot of people who are listening to this who are in U.S.
Okay.
But I think you should diversify. I think there's a lot of opportunities, particularly in the Asian markets, that you should try to take advantage of.
Well, we have a lot of stocks, commodities in Canada. Mm-hmm. We have trust units, but as you know, the trust units in 2011 are going to be dropped.
Well, I know they're going to raise the taxes on them, but it's my feeling that the stock prices won't drop much because I think that's already factored into the current market.
Okay. And our dollar, of course, from what you're saying previously, because the U.S. dollar will drop tremendously in the future.
Yes, the Canadian dollar should rise rather substantially against the U.S. dollar. I mean, it did rise to about $1.10 at the highs last year. It's back down to being about 80 cents, but I think it's going a lot higher once this noise is over. Once this repatriation and this deleveraging is over, the dollar, I think, is just going to drop like a stone. That is the real crisis that's coming. It's the currency crisis. It's out there. It's the gorilla in the living room that nobody can seem to notice, and that crisis is far greater than the one that everybody is trying to solve with the printing press.
Okay. I hear you talk a lot about gold, and we're just wondering if we should sell some of our funds that we have that are not producing much for gold.
Yeah, it depends on what your needs are. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of dividend yield out of gold, or you're not going to get any. You can buy some of the mining stocks, but again, there's not a lot of yield there. So it depends. I mean, now there's some of the base metal companies around the world that have huge dividend yields, but if you don't own any gold, it certainly makes sense to own some.
Yeah, we have some Kinross.
Yeah, that's a gold stock. Yeah. Well, anyways, as I said, call up and talk to one of the brokers. We got an office down in Florida. I don't know how close you are to Palm Beach.
Well, Palm Beach, okay. We'll look you up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking my call.
Okay, thanks for the call, John. Next call is James from Texas.
Hi, Peter. I have a question regarding your investment thesis. In order for decoupling to occur, isn't it necessary for foreign central bankers to take action enabling it to occur? And if so, why do you expect them to do so, given that central bankers do stupid things all the time?
Well, what I think would require is for all the central banks around the world to stop artificially supporting the dollar and to allow